Hello, my name is Luke Fletcher and I am a DP based out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and today I'm doing a little lighting breakdown on the latest short film / commercial that I did for House of Pearls. If you don't know, House of Pearls is a really amazing rehab center that is making a huge impact on people, and it's really cool to be able to make films for organizations that you just believe in, and this is definitely one of those organizations. If you haven't yet seen the film that we did for them, I would highly recommend pausing this video and going and watching that so that you can have a little bit more context as I do the lighting breakdown. The link will be in the description below. So the film starts out on a nice little Dana Dolly push-in. The camera setup is the Ursa G2, and then this shot is on the Laowa 12mm. Other than that, the rest of the film is on the DZO Pictor zooms, the 20-55, and then the 50-125. And then we've got a 1/4 Pro Mist that rode on the lens for all the shots. The reason for the zoom lenses is that honestly, I just really love zoom lenses, and the Pictor zooms I just love the look of them. You know, they've got character, whatever that means. But also from a practical standpoint, the zooms just help create more dynamic movement. Like in this next scene, we dolly in on Shannon, but then we also slowly zoom in towards the photo. And then again, with the scene at the table, we do the same. It's a move you just can't get without a zoom lens. Right now, I'm working on a feature and we're shooting about 90% of it on zoom lenses. They save you a ton of time, and I just love me a good zoom in, like during the shot. But that is enough of me proclaiming my love of zooms. Let's get into the lighting. So for lighting on this first shot, we literally did almost nothing. They had motorized curtains on each side, so we just had them bring down the side that would be front lighting her, and then we just opened up the other side so that the light would come in and hit her more from the side. You know, we could have gone buck wild with this shot, but sometimes just going with what you're given is the way to go. It was just one quick shot, and it doesn't really make sense to spend a whole lot of time on something like that. We also had a shot of her walking into the building. I have no idea why I wrote that into the script. It just wasn't necessary to have 2 different walking shots of her getting to work. I also wrote this, so I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but now you know. For lighting the scene at the desk, we had to spend quite a little chunk of time just blacking out the house lights that were over top of the desk and just like surrounding area. And then we threw up this massive light that I have called the IntelliTech Mega Light Cloth. It's this huge 3x5 bicolor LED mat. It's a really nice light to use for overhead stuff because it's so light. Like light as a feather light. It's also a light. Then we just diapered it with an 8x8 silk. But yeah, this just kind of gives a nice, soft, happy look. It would have probably been more fun to light this more dramatically and moodier. But you know, this is supposed to look happy, like she's got this job and she's very proud of it. And then we just threw some mascaras up to add a nice little kiss of light.
And chewable tablets for dogs, and soft chews and sprinkle capsules for cats. I'm sorry, yes ma'am. Dasquin helps support cartilage matrix production. It helps inhibit certain enzymes that break down.
Shout out to my wife Annie for making the desk look so good. It was completely bare and gross before, and I think she did a great job making it look beautiful, just like she is. It was nice and cloudy when we shot this scene of her being sad after her daughter doesn't pick up the phone call. So all we did was just put some floppies on the right side to make it a little darker on her face, and then we had an 8x8 silk on the left side to brighten that up and just give us a little bit more contrast to the image. After we finished that scene, we did the scene of her with her coworkers, and at this point the sun was going in and out of the clouds, so we tabled the 8x8 silk overhead of everyone to soften up the sun. I try to avoid ever getting into a scenario where you have to throw a big ol' silk up in front of the sun, because usually it just looks so artificial. But we needed these 2 scenes to match, and it's a lot easier to hide the fact that we're using a silk since the sun was backlighting them. If the sun had been directly over top of them or front lighting her, it would definitely have looked a lot more artificially lit. And then also just shooting into the building allowed us to hide any harsh shadows that the sun was creating in the background and telling you, hey, it's a sunny day and not an overcast day like it is on her face because of the silk. But that's why it's so important to location scout, because about a week before this, I was able to figure out exactly where the sun was gonna be and then schedule this scene so that the sun would be behind them. We're all so subconsciously familiar with what the sun does. So if you're going for a realistic look, I think you really have to be careful when you light a daylight exterior. And it gets really, really risky using any actual lights and trying to sell them as if they're the sun. The strongest tool you have is just being able to schedule the scene for where you need the sun to be and then bouncing or subtracting a little bit of that natural light.
I'm gonna make a call real quick. I'll see you guys.
Okay, bye, Shannon.
What's up? Hey, just our boys cooking in the kitchen right here. We got a few cooks on the line, cooking up some beautiful light. Gonna make it really yummy and tasty.
Yeah. Check this out.
I don't even care. You don't even care, bro. And we're back.
The shot of the kids playing outside was actually the very first shot of the film that we got. I just wanted to shoot the kids out first thing so that they didn't have to be waiting around for us.
Window, so you kind of be like around this one little spot.
I also have you do it, Macy.
Yeah.
Just to have them. And then I think we should start the scene with not seeing anybody.
I think about you guys all the time, and I miss you so much. Whenever you're ready.
And then we also got a photograph of them, and then we matched it up as closely as we could to the actual photograph of Shannon's real kids. And then while we were doing that, the crew was able to start lighting and doing set deck for the rest of the scenes. That's we're probably gonna need to use the generator, and then the camera will probably go like this or something.
Do you want haze? Or maybe just like the back here to get like that light beam?
Yeah.
Yeah, drain on like for an hour.
Yeah, but like kind of like so it doesn't hit her in the face. So it's like kind of thing.
And
And then our lead actress was able to go straight into makeup and get all grossed up. Our makeup, Angie did such a good job doing just enough that it showed up well on camera, but it wasn't too overdone that it was just gross and, you know, super unrealistic and, you know, zombie-like or something. So once she was all good on makeup, we shot her scenes of her rummaging around the house. For this scene, it's literally just two 600Ds with Fresnels blasting through the windows. They have steel blue gels on them to just give it a gross little musty look. There were also some floppies up against the wall in that back room so that the 600D blasting through the window wouldn't hit into the white wall and just spread the light everywhere.
First test. That makes all three of my kiddos getting it on their first try. So yeah, I'm calling to let you know how proud I am of you.
One where
Like a low
you're
shot.
just kind of looking around and I'm just gonna shoot up at you.
It's your mom.
Now we go back to the steadiness of the Dana Dolly after all the handheld shots because she's found her drug and things are calm now, you know, at least in her world. The curtain is what's giving it that really nice warm color. So that's a 600D on a softbox shooting in through that window behind her. And then there's a 600D with a Fresnel with that steel green. And then that is shooting through a tree branch that is literally just attached to a C-stand to break up the light and make it look less artificial. We had a spotlight mount and we could have used the tree gobo, but I think just doing it for real is just funnier. It just kind of makes everybody a little happier on set to see something so silly. And it makes me feel better. It just feels a little more like a real thing than the spotlight mount does.
Already?
I'll get both of you getting
Or
each
just
other.
the look of the...
For the flash needle.
It's actually really hard.
Next was a little company move about an hour away to the House of Pearls facility. Just figuring out where the sun was gonna be in pre-production was the key to lighting this scene. It turned out perfectly that they already had a flower bed in front of the House of Pearls and then the sunset behind all of that, so it just came together very nicely.
When you're
For this establishing wide shot, we actually didn't do anything to the lighting at all. It's just completely natural. And then it's not until we go in for coverage that we brought in a floppy to just add a little bit of negative fill to their face and, you know, just a little more contrast. Sunset is just a nice time to film at because you don't have to do anything. And it looks way better than anything you could ever do yourself.
Oh, Tammy! Thanks for having me.
Right before we shot the sunset scene at the flower bed, we shot the scene at the table, so we had to black out all of the windows so that it would play as nighttime.
We don't want it to take away. Might be okay.
Really?
Just go up as high as you can.
We are.
Okay.
This is again the IntelliTech boomed out over the table with an 8x8 silk. And then we've got an Amaran light mat and an Astera doing a little backlighting. There's also an Astera in the back room adding a little blue contrast. Then all of the walls closest to camera were blacked out to try and stop any fill light from coming back into the scene.
And hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has
Next
been...
scene, back at the office, is just us repositioning the lights a little bit, just putting the IntelliTech back over top of her, and then, you know, moving the Asteras accordingly. Nothing too crazy. Then we go to our very last scene in the film, which is also the last scene that we filmed. We timed it so by this time of day, it was kind of more so going into blue hour. So it would look like the day was coming to an end and it was time for her to go home. For the shots in the car, we're just bouncing the silver side of a B-board in and then just flopping off the side facing camera. About as simple as it gets.
Like, so it's kind of exhale when you see it, like, you just don't care. Yeah. Everyone, that's a wrap. Woo! More celebration, guys. That was really pathetic. Hey.
All right, everybody. That's a wrap.
That about wraps us up on this little lighting breakdown. Nothing too crazy as far as lighting goes. This was a pretty, you know, we were able to just keep it simple on this one. And that's always, you know, I think that's fine.
Mo, are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me?
Thank you, Nutramax and House of Pearls and the crew for helping make this film happen. Making a film like this is just such a dream, and it's so amazing to get to have so much fun, but also make a film that is just for such an awesome organization. House of Pearls is just doing some amazing things for amazing people, and I am just so psyched that we all got to work with them. I'm gonna keep uploading videos just like this, very slowly but surely. So yeah, you should like and subscribe the video so that you will get to watch the rest of the videos that you can watch all of them if you want to